Have you ever had the need to put a live telephone call on the air at your radio station? Well, you could spend several $100s on what's called a telephone hybrid, or for just a few bucks, you could build a very simple interface which will allow you to connect your telephone to your audio mixer. Now, this is a very simple, inexpensive audio mixer made by Behringer. This is the UB802 Eurorack, and it provides you with 2 microphone inputs, 2 stereo line inputs, and an effects loop, an output, and a stereo return input. How are we going to use that to connect our telephone? Well, the FCC says you have to maintain isolation from the telephone network from any external devices other than approved devices. So since we can't connect our mixer directly to the telephone line, we're actually going to use the telephone as the interface. And this box is what's going to allow us to connect the telephone audio to the mixer and still maintain the proper FCC requirement for isolation to the telephone network. Inside this box are 2 audio isolation transformers. They only cost a few bucks. You can buy them at most any electronics house. They're called generally a 600 ohm or 1-to-1 audio transformer. Each transformer is connected to one of these RCA jacks, which is how we're going to connect to our mixer. The other side of each transformer is connected to this standard telephone handset cord. Now, what I did to make it simple or easier to connect was inside the box there is also a 4-position headphone, or I should say handset connector. So this cord has a modular connector on the end of it which plugs into the handset jack that's inside this box. So now the handset cord plugs into the telephone in place of the handset. The audio that comes in on the phone line from your caller would normally go to the earphone, but we're going to take the pair of wires that go to the earphone, connecting them to the transformer that goes to the input of our effects loop. So the blue wire comes over here to what's called the stereo aux return. And since we only have a mono signal, by plugging it into the jack labeled left mono, this audio, which is coming from the telephone line, will be directed to the effects aux return, and this will adjust the amount of signal that goes to our main mix, which then goes out to our transmitter. When we speak over any one of these 4 channels, the microphone in particular, a portion of that microphone audio is fed to the effects loop by this control, which is labeled FX. And what that does is it will take these 4 channels, depending on how much we turn these up, and it will mix them together and feed them to the effects send. So this yellow patch cord is going over here to our little box, to the audio transformer, and the output of that transformer connects to the microphone wires, which go back to the telephone. Now, making a phone call or taking a phone call is just the same way you normally do, except you pick the handset up and just put it down, because you're going to be talking on your microphone and listening on your headset. Now, it may take a little bit of doing to get the levels set so that you don't get distortion. But basically, when you're speaking, you need to adjust your effects send, which sends it up here to the effects send output to the telephone so that you don't overload your telephone. And then the audio coming back from the telephone will come back to the aux return, and you adjust this level to determine how much you want to feed to your mixer output. And that's about all there is to it. Let's make a test call and see how it works. All right, let's make a test phone call here and see what happens. Hello there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
It's not fuzzy or distorted?
A little.
Just a little bit. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm testing my phone patch. I wanted to see if it was working or not.
Oh, okay.
So, that's all.
Sounds pretty good now. But it broke up a little bit there.
Oh, well, that's very possible. You're on a cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, that's all I needed.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. Bye. So there you have it. That was a test telephone call using the phone line interface, where I'm using this little box to connect my Eurorack UB802 mixer to my telephone. Simply pick up the handset, lay it on the table, dial the number, and make a call. Vice versa, somebody calls you, just pick up the handset, start talking. And as you saw, I had to adjust my my microphone send a little bit to get a little bit of distortion out of it, but they had absolutely no problem understanding me, and as you heard, I could understand them. Well, that's it. If you have any questions, check with the ALPB at thealpb.com.